Hi, good morning, and welcome to my commentary to sustainability modeling lecture number 11. Um, and this lecture is it's about a system dynamics model of fruit production. And what I like particularly about this model formulation is that it's, if you look through it, it poses a comparison between a vegetarian-based diet versus a livestock-based diet, and the trade-offs that are involved. Um, and trade-offs of several. One of the ideas, for example, is that in the livestock-based diet, you use vegetables to feed the livestock, which end up feeding you, instead of just feeding you directly from the vegetable in the vegetarian-based diet. Um, the other trade-off that's involved is it's a different use of land by vegetable crops versus livestock. So you can see some of the interesting interactions, and how that affects food production and quantities and yields, in terms of feeding populations. So I think it's a nice system dynamics formulation model that poses some of these issues with food security and food production, which is a big sustainability issue nowadays. I think the other thing that the model is actually fairly simple in structure. It's got a lot of variables because of the multiple interactions, but it's not conceptually a difficult model. So the logic, it's what I want you to focus on this lecture is actually following the logic in the model in these interactions, and you can see there's no math, literally. So actually, you will notice that I did not include in the lecture materials, any model mathematics and derivation, because the model is fairly straightforward. But I do want you to focus on the logic and look at the Vensim model. Try to trace the interactions between stocks and fluxes and what goes into the formulation of both the stocks and the fluxes, and try to piece together these interactions and pose any questions and any comments you may have. On the Facebook page, I also included a text and narrative on the description of the model itself. It's fairly brief, so I suggest you read it. It'll give you a little bit of an intro into how the model is formulated. Let me look at my notes here. So that's pretty much it for the model. When you dig deep again into the model formulation and understand it, pose any comments, any insights, any questions you may have on our discussion page. Let's see, now going into some bookkeeping items. So I'm still grading your introductory blog post, and the way, just like, because I've been receiving some questions from a few of you as to how the grading is done. The way I do the grading is it's essentially relative to the group. And we have a group of about 10 students in the class, so it's a nice small group, but it's still large enough to be able to compare. So the way I do it is, that's why it takes me a little bit longer to grade, because I sort of give them a read once through, and then I read them again, and I try to understand the different the different levels of effort and levels of insight. But I should have some feedback to you this week, and I'll be sending that to you through individual messages on either a Facebook page or email. We'll see what sticks. Now we do have the next step in the course grading, which is the term paper. Okay, and I'm gonna post, actually I posted already instructions for the term paper and the oral presentation. These are due in about 3 weeks, so it's a short time fuse. So I hope that you've been already working on your model. The scope of the paper, as you'll see in the instructions, is about 2,000 to 3,000 words. So I'm looking at roughly about maybe 10 pages of text, so it's not an incredibly lengthy paper, but I do give you specific instructions as to how I want you to structure it, and the idea is that you explore the issue that you've posed in your blog post, explore it formally through a Vensim model, of a simple. I want you to keep the model simple. I do not want to have, well, unless you are an events expert and you want to go crazy with a very complex model, please go ahead. I'm not going to discourage you from doing that, but I'd rather see a topic approach through a simple model, and I do want to see not just the model, but I do want to see analysis and discussion of results and some level of original analysis in your work. Okay, that is going to be for the term paper. We're going to have an accompanying oral presentation, and it's going to be about 15 minutes. We'll do this one-on-one on the web, as each of you with me, and I'll send you instructions as to how to do that. We're going to do a web service, so you're going to get instructions as to how to log in. We need to schedule that, so I'm going to post on Facebook some windows of availability, so we can do that. Okay, so that's pretty much it on my part. I hope you enjoy the lecture and you have a good week. And any questions, comments, suggestions, please go on to the Facebook discussion page. Have a good one, okay? Bye-bye.